So you're going to want to stay tuned until the end of the video. That is where I will have all the information on the drop, because there is some details that you're going to want to hear. So stay tuned until the end. Also, if you want to see a full sharpening on this knife, I do have a full video showing how to sharpen a Tonto and how to sharpen this specifically. I will link that in the description.
Hello. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, now hold your breath and face your death, cause you play a roulette with each step I progress.
Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we're doing the full review on the NEEVEKNIFECO Offender, which is dropping very, very soon. We do have them. This is one of the production versions. So we're going to quickly go through the materials and everything. Then we're going to go through some testing, sharpening, talk about the steels, talk about my idea between this, and all the good stuff. So this is an 8-inch overall length with a 3.25-inch blade, so 3 1/4, with a 3-inch cutting edge. However, because of the blade shape, it feels a lot longer than that. Let's put it that way. This is a MagnaCut blade, 63 to 64 HRC. And don't mind if this one has scratches and everything. I've been testing this one for, I don't know, like 2 months. I've been testing the hell out of it. And then maybe a little less than that. And then I've been testing, obviously, my prototype even longer. But this one I've had in the pocket for a while. I've been beating the tar off of it. But MagnaCut 63 to 64 HRC, and they did a really good job with the heat treatment. We're going to talk about that when we get into the sharpening. A Harpoon dual grind slight recurved Tonto. So we have what is it? It was about 12 to 13 thousandths behind the edge. That's after I sharpened it 3 times. So that's right now, it's about 13 thousandths behind the edge, and that's after sharpening a bunch of times. This right here, I think, is about 23 thousandths. Now that's after sharpening it 3 times, and that is very slicey for a dual grind Tonto. A lot of companies go really thick and robust up here. I wanted to go nice and slicey up here, but I wanted the dual grind for the stability. I wanted the tip to have a lot of stability and a little bit more toughness up here without sacrificing cutting performance too bad. Now, the hollow grind is very high, very deep, beautiful satin, beautiful swedge on the top. And then we have, you know, the other satin right there. So it's like a dual angled satin. Now, beautiful plunge grind. You can see that. We started it here. It ends right there. This is after a lot of steel removal. Like I said, I have sharpened the heck out of this thing. Then we have a titanium frame lock with a titanium backspacer with nice sharp jimping and the perfect titanium mill pocket clip. This is probably, if not my favorite, one of my favorites, if not my favorite, milled titanium pocket clip. I worked really hard on designing this, and I do think it also looks good with this design, but I might try to use this on a lot of other knife designs just because it works so well. Extremely smooth in and out of the pocket. It is inset, and then you can see the screw is pretty much flat. It's pretty much inset. From now on, I'm going to try to screw it through the backspacer from other models, but, you know, obviously nothing, you know, it doesn't bother anything. We have a cutout for the lock bar on the inside, so there's nothing in the way, and this is very smooth on this stonewash texture. Titanium hardware. Now, we will have other colors as far as hardware goes, and we're going to talk about that more at the end, so stay tuned. Now, let's talk about who I designed this for and why it's like this and all this stuff. So I wanted this to be for users. This to me is well, the plan was that. But after getting it in hand, it outpaced my expectations. This thing is so amazing for the majority of EDC. The only thing that I have found personally that it's not like the best at is like cutting food and stuff, but you can still do it. It will absolutely still cut food, no problem. But it's not really that type of design. However, when you start talking about breaking down cardboard, boxes, rope, zip ties, string, twine, things like that, This thing is exceptional. The ergonomics in my hand just melt. Now, with the 3.25 blade, 8 inches overall, the handle is a nice big handle, so it should fit the majority of hands. You can choke up really nice, you can choke back, you can spin it around if you needed to catch something, because with the recurve, you can actually grab a rope and pull it towards you and not fear it slipping up and around the belly, because it doesn't have one. So, you know, all of that was you know, thought out. Now, with the pinch grip, you know, like say going into the seam of a box and running down it, this has that recurve which traps materials. So this is going to be phenomenal at like long cuts, or like going down the seams of a box, then flipping and going to a utility cut. This is a very pronounced secondary tip. So it allows it to be like an incredible utility cut right here. Now you still have the primary tip, which is higher than the center of the pivot, but it's not crazy high. I can still easily get to it. And you know, like I said, the secondary tip is probably gonna be the most used. Now, the cutting performance is phenomenal. It passes through materials extremely well. If you need to cut down on a flat surface, I use this front portion right there, which it works extremely well. And you know, like I said, there is a little bit of toughness, a little bit more toughness up there. So if you're cutting down on a surface, it should be overall okay. I did chip mine in the process of testing, but it was on staples. I was breaking down a whole bunch of boxes. Like, I got an incredible amount of cardboard that I deal with every week, so much so that I have to break it all down in order for it to fit. And I was breaking down this massive box, and I didn't know it had staples running down the side of it. And I went to do it, and I wound up chipping my edge all in here. And what's funny is it was right after sharpening. And then I chipped the tip as well. Oh, well, you know, the point was to test the hell out of it. So wound up working out. But the cutting performance, edge retention, and all that has been amazing, which we are going to talk about here in 1 second. But I really enjoy the manipulation of this. The ease of putting it in and out of the pocket, getting it open rapidly, making my cut, getting it closed, out of the way, and just, like, it doesn't matter what grip I'm in, it basically works extremely well. Now, you know, for other purposes like self-defense and stuff like that, being a folder, obviously a fixed blade is going to be better for stuff like that. But when your hands are wrapped around this, you are making the lock stronger, and this would be very devastating, whether it's for poking or snap cuts. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, not saying it was designed for that purpose, but it definitely works really good for that purpose. But the blade and handle just complement each other so well that it just, like I said, it's a phenomenal user. You really find that it actually benefits you and helps you along the way. Now, the steel sharpening, let's talk about all that. So, like I said, I've sharpened this a few times. I did sharpen it even live with the other one with a bench stone. So you can use a bench stone with no problem. You're just going to use the edge of the stone. You start off at the top corner and then work your way down the edge of the stone. You're kind of leaning it just slightly, so you're not quite holding it flat on the stone. And, you know, as long as your stone's corner doesn't have a bunch of chips and nicks in it, it should work really well like that. Now, if you have 1 inch wide stones and you need to improvise, you need to get by, I wouldn't recommend doing this long term, but you can angle them a little bit and use the edge of them, whether it's freehand or fixed angled. Now, the best way to sharpen it is going to be with slim stones or round stones. Like I said, you don't have to use that if you don't have it, and maybe you don't have a lot of recurves and you just want one. You can absolutely use what you got. But, you know, that's why it's a slight recurve, not a major recurve. However, if you have a bunch of recurves, or if you like recurves, you should get thin stones, because sharpening recurves constantly on the edge of your stone can pose some damages to the stone, and it can, you know, basically ruin the corner of the stone after you do it a lot of times. But I liked clamping this in a fixed angled system, and like I said, I did do it freehand a bunch of times, but because I you know, tested a few of them. But this particular model, last time I sharpened it, last 2 times I sharpened it on a fixed angle knife sharpening system using slim stones. It went extremely well. The one thing that was so impressive to me was how the burr was coming up. And then also, really quick, before we talk about the burr, the geometry right here and right here, if you notice, the bevel doesn't get like super big, right? You notice that? Because like I said, I tried to keep the geometry really good. So right here is very thin and very slicey, and then so is this. So you're not getting like a massive bevel right here and then a little tiny bevel right here. They're both gonna be right around the same size, and this is the same angle on both of these. So that to me is really awesome too. It looks a lot more consistent. You can tell it's more slicey than maybe some other ones that have massive bevels up here, because that happens a lot. But the burr, there were times where I'd bring up the burr and I could just touch it and it just came off like dust. And that is amazing. I was able to pull it off, like literally just with my finger, just snap it right off. It was such a good burr, or a good experience with the burr. That is a good indicator or a good sign to good heat treatment, because you know, the burr, depending on how well a burr comes off, depends on how well your sharpness comes off and how well your edge comes out. If it takes you a long time to get a burr off, then you have the potential to, you know, have a micro tear out. You have the potential to leave a microscopic burr behind. And another thing, which is, you know, really bad, is that the more you are frustrated and trying to get the burr off, the more likely you are to mess up your scratch pattern in your apex. When it just snaps off effortlessly, that means that when you get it off, it's revealing the perfect apex. And that's how you get to the most ridiculous sharp edges you can ever imagine, is that way. It's impossible to get those redunculous sharp edges without having an incredible burr removal. So I'm just saying that it was phenomenal. They did a really good job with this MagnaCut. I'm very, very impressed with it, very happy with it. Now, after using it and stropping, again, when the heat treat's done well, stropping works great. Like, it's so easy to strop. I stropped this thing back so many times when it was like dead. Like, to me, it was like, I'm gonna need to resharpen it. I even stropped it back when it had all the chips in it. Granted, the chips obviously didn't come out. Like, I couldn't get the chips I was stropping, but the rest of the edge came back like super, super sharp. So that is another really nice thing that, you know, and that was from dull, like not from sharp. I recommend people strop while it's still sharp, right? Like not right away, but you know, after you've used it a few times, you know, and it's still relatively sharp, that's when you should tune it up on the strop. And then, you know, after a little while longer, maybe on the hone, which it honed back extremely well. Everything about sharpening, honing, stropping was, in my opinion, almost as good as it gets. Now, the edge retention, like I said, has been phenomenal. It's held an edge incredibly, incredibly well. I went to a mirror polish. I went to a medium grit polish, or medium grit edge. I tested all different edges on it, and it did phenomenal with all of them. The polished edge did extremely well. I didn't do a controlled test to see which one cut longer, but I'll say this. The polished edge held the bite phenomenally well, and especially when you add in a strop, you can keep the longevity of the bite, and I'm talking about a ridiculous amount of bite for a long time when you enter a strop into the picture. Now, you know, the strength, it's a frame lock. It's not a thick blade, so it's not a tough knife. However, I did use the tip a little bit for a little light duty prying. Nothing crazy. Like I had one thing, I had to pry a sink thing out a couple times because it kept dropping in. You know how you can't get it out, so you got to like wedge a butter knife in there or something. Instead, I used this, and I used it multiple times. I did chip the tip a little bit from one occasion. Like I said, it's not for tough or hard use, but mediocre tough use you could definitely use it for. Now, the action. Let's talk about this action because I know you guys are waiting for this part. This is amazing action. Absolutely amazing. My partner with NEEVEKNIFECO, Chase, he even handed it to some people that never used a front flipper, and they were able to do it. My cousin, he's not great at a front flipper. He did it perfectly.
Doing it right. Oh,
you're doing it good.
Oh yeah.
Actually, really good.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised how how good
it's easy to do though.
Yeah, it's very easy. Damn.
Literally for just, you know, not always doing a front flipper there, but
The side finger is a lot more difficult for people. That one, yeah, there you go. Oh, you got it. It's the best front flipper, in my opinion, at least in the top 5, right? So it has the perfect jimping that you would want. Nice, sharp, very tight jimping. It's the same jimping that's on the backspacer, actually. So all you gotta do, you can use like the back of your thumb back here. I really like that. That's satisfying to me. But you just push your finger straight down this way, and then when you're ready, you just draw this way. So push it down and then draw. And it is so rapid. It's effortless. It's like lighting a Bic lighter or a Zippo or something. Like, that's exactly what it's like. The side finger, super good. Reach over, perfect. I don't think you could beat that reach over. Like, it's so good. I'm sure there's going to be some reach overs from some knives that are really well done, equally as good, maybe slightly better. I doubt it though, man. It's tough to beat this one. I know I'm biased, but my goodness, as you can see, it is just so effortless. And that's another thing, like I was saying, when I pull it out of my pocket to get it open, get it drawn, and get it ready to for action, it's great, man. It's just so easy to get this thing open. The detents are really nice. I did notice some are a little bit stronger than others, and others are a little bit lighter than others. However, all of them are really good. Really gotta try to get that blade out. It doesn't just pop right out. So you really have to try. So it's not, you can hear, this is the lighter one, like I said. And if you go to the top of the hole, it's gonna have a little bit of a stronger detent. If you go to the bottom hole, a little bit lighter. But the thumb and reverse flick works extremely well. The slow roll's great. The side roll, top flipper or front flipper, reach over, all of them are great. I can even do them all left-handed. I do put my finger on the clip, but that's just where it naturally lands. So that works great. Yeah. I could even do the side finger with my lefty, which I'm not good at, as you can see, especially under a camera. Action's insane. It is on ceramic caged bearings. As you can see, it is very smooth on the drop. This one is not obviously as drop shutty as my, well, maybe it is about the same, because I've been testing the hell out of both of them. So you can get it to basically a false shut action. I tightened the pivot pretty significantly on this one. Not that I had to, but I just did because I just put it back together. But yeah, once it breaks in, it's going to be just basically drop shut action. Like I said, this one I cranked the pivot down, which you can with these. Now, TA hardware all the way around. Should have said that at the beginning. Good access to the lock bar. You guys know I ain't messing around with the access to the lock bar. You guys know I'm not messing around with plunge grinds, and I'm not messing around with access to the lock bars. I want as many sharpenings as possible, which you can remove steel all the way up to here, which you'll never do. But your blade will look weird by the time you run out of steel to sharpen, by the time you hit the plunge, right? And like I said, this is already a few sharpenings in. The texturing right here, I originally planned to move it in here. They didn't get the memo, which is fine, because I didn't mind it here, and it actually kind of works out better, because when I go to push it, yes, my finger hits this inside pad, but this little edge seems to be the spot that works best for the grip. So it doesn't feel sharp. Like, I don't push straight that way though. I push at an angle or from the side like that. And it just, yeah, it's, to me, it's very comfortable, very grippy. Some people might have an issue with it this way. I don't have no feeling right there, but even if I did, I personally like a little tactile texture. I don't mind it, especially when you're coupled with this jimping, perfect jimping all the way up to the poon. Got that poon action, you got the jimping back here, and then you got the jimping right there. To me, it feels really good. You can see the MagnaCut logo right there. Lots of milling on the inside in order to bring down the weight, which in my opinion, this is not a heavy knife. I would consider this fairly lightweight considering the size and everything. Now, like I said, the drop, you have a spot right here that you can just let it hit your finger when it comes down if you want, just like that. just know when you switch knives, because that's how I cut my finger right here. I was flipping this guy for like 2 months, you know, and then I happened to grab a mini Momo and I did the same thing. And when I did that, I went to go up like that and my finger went straight across it. But yeah, just know when you switch knives. But yeah, it's very smooth on drop, very easy to get past the detent, and the detent is extremely early. This is early if it had a flipper tab, let alone without one. So very, very easy. You're never going to run into that detent. Now, like I said, in and out of the pocket, so smooth. It's been a dream to carry, and lately I've been very picky on clips. And I know I fumbled the bag with the misdemeanor clip, which was why I had to get new ones, which we are getting more clips and hardware. So, you know, if you weren't able to get any, we have more coming. Before we get into all the details, let's talk about some negatives, because, you know, I should be able to criticize my own work. So one thing, and I'm trying to fix this now, is I do wish I would have put a bit on this side, right? I didn't have an issue taking it off, but when I went to switch hardware, the new stuff was a little bit more difficult. So we are changing that. I'll get to that in 1 second. But that would be one thing I would change if I was redoing the one that comes just like this. Which are all going to come just like this, by the way. I'll explain in just 1 second. The T8 right here on the steel lock bar insert is up a little bit proud. That is something that could have been inset better. And I know, like, it's a thick lock bar, so it has a robust lockup. Remember, this one's been squeezed, it's been hammered, like this thing's been through hell. So, you know, that's why it has that good lockup like that, which to me, that's perfect lockup. It's about 30% rock solid, no detent lash, no nothing. Like, this thing has just been a champion the whole time. But I would sink that in a little bit better. Next thing, you know, these two, they don't bother me at all, and they're not up high at all, but that's something that probably could have been a little more inset, perfectly centered. The next thing is I might have put the clip all the way to this side, like where it just goes through and through, like I'm going to do on some of the other models, and screw it right into the back spacer. If I would have been capable of doing that, I'm not sure if it would have. I wanted to do multi-row bearings, but they wouldn't fit, so we had to go with single row. But it's very, very smooth, and it does have the washers in there as well. The next thing is and this is biased as all hell, because a lot of you guys have let me know that my preference for detent strength is stronger than most. I know that. I get that. I've gotten the message from you guys. I know. So when I say this, take it with a grain of salt. I do wish that some of them came with a little bit stronger detent. But I don't think the majority of people are going to think that, because it is so fidget friendly that it feels amazing. With that said, I would love it if it was just slightly crispier on the reverse flick, but I think most people would not agree with it, or at least I would. I don't know. You know, I don't know, but I know a lot of people don't like a super strong detent. This is not a light detent. It's not a super strong detent. It's in the medium area. But my prototype was a little bit stronger, and it was what I was used to before I got to this. But I did try some, and some had a detent like that one, and then some were like this one. But it's, like I said, this is such a tiny thing, because it is great. Like, it's phenomenal. Now, I will say this. If, for whatever reason, any knife, any frame lock knife, you have a light detent on, or have a detent that you would just prefer to be slightly stronger or much stronger, I have videos on how to tune your detent with a frame lock. It's not hard. You know, you have to do it at your own risk, because there's always issues. Anytime you take apart a knife, there's always, you know, issues that can happen. But it's very, very easy. You just do not want to do too much. That's the thing with tuning a lock bar. You want to do it as gentle and as light as possible, meaning the strength of the lock bar. When you move the lock bar over to increase the strength of it, you do not want to do a lot. A little goes a very long way. And something like this, if I was going to tune it, it would be an extreme, like it's like you almost don't want to. It's such a little tiny bit that you would add. So if you were gonna at all, which like I said, I don't think most people are gonna. Now, let's get into, I don't really have many more negatives. Obviously, it's my design, so, you know, I do love everything about it. And I think they did an incredible job with it. I'm very happy with Bestech. Bestech did a phenomenal job. Bestech is the OEM on this. These were expensive, though. I will say that. These were even more money than the Misdemeanor. I want to be clear about that. Quite a bit more. I would have never thought before doing this that Bestech would have been the more expensive one. I would have thought Reat would have been. But no, it is not. However, we did still keep these at $300, $299. $299, that's what the price is for these. Now, if you want other colors, so here's the details. Let's get to the details. The details are, we are going to be dropping it on my father's birthday, February 17th. Rest in peace. But on February 17th, we are going to be dropping this probably around noon, 1 o'clock. If you get on the email list, you will get the email. So get on the email list on NEEVEKNIFECO, sign up so you can get the emails for anything. Now, we are going to have hardware on there for sale, but we do not have them, and I'm going to show them to you. We had problems with the hardware. So everything was good, but the screws, and I'll tell you this, they did not come with the logo, which we are not going to have the replacement ones that we've already ordered. They were not going to have them put the logo on. So one thing, if you do get extra hardware, you will not have the logo. But one side, and we're also going to have the screw put on the other side. So this side would have the NEEVEKNIFECO logo. This is electric blue, but we're going to leave it plain, no logo, with a T8 bit. So it'll look just like this. That's what we're going to try to get them to do because we have to get new ones because they were too long. Very slightly too long, but a little too long. So I don't know how that was botched, but it was. So we had all the hardware, but now we have to wait for that screw. So it sucks because we literally were waiting for this drop just for this. Now, why did we do it like this? So there's going to be 400, well, there's 400 pieces total. So about 370, 380 pieces, something like that will be for sale just like this. This is exactly what it'll look like. You'll have all the hardware. You'll be good to go. However, if you want to make it your own and make it whatever color option you want, for $35, you can get the entire titanium package. That is a hell of a deal. We are not making much on this hardware. This is all titanium hardware. You're getting the clip, backspin, you're getting everything. The only thing you're not getting is like the internal hardware, like an extra set of bearings and stuff like that, which we'll probably do in the future. But with this one, you know, you're buying the set of hardware. So we have what's called weathered red. It is a beautiful looking gold. It has like a pink reddish hue to it. I don't know if the camera will do it justice. Then we have electric blue, which is a blurple. And then we have the green, which is called emerald green. Beautiful, beautiful green. So you get to choose if you want extra hardware. So it comes with the hardware, so you're perfectly fine with the hardware it comes with. But if you want to pick a different color and have an extra set of hardware, you know, maybe without the logo, maybe with a double-sided pivot, then you can do that for, like I said, 35 bucks. Now, this is the problem. We don't have them because of the issue. So what we're gonna do is for 1 penny, you can pre-order it. You can pre-order it for 1 penny. They will already be ordered by the time you guys are even seeing this, so they're already in the works. But once they arrive, then everybody will get the emails, and anybody who does pre-order for the penny is guaranteed to get the one they want, right? So if you want 2, 3 colors, do whatever you want, but pre-order it for 1 penny. Then once they show up, everybody will get an email. I'll make an announcement. Whoever did the pre-order will for sure get one. And then if we have any extras, then we will sell those to the people that, you know, did not pre-order, but you will have to pay at that moment. So once you get the email, you know, saying that they're in, that will be the time when you will have to pay the remainder, you know, the $35. So it's not like we want to do it that way. It's just because of the site and the way things work. It's the way we have to do it. We wanted to have the hardware here for you guys, but stuff happens, and I don't want to wait to do this. I've been waiting already too damn long. So So yeah, there you guys go. Like I said, February 17th around 12 p.m. Central Time, we will have these on the Neve Knife Co. site for $299. And then to get extra hardware, it will cost you $35, 1 penny for the pre-order. And then as soon as they come in, which will not take long, it should only take a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks max, then we will ship that stuff out to you and you guys can pay the remainder 35 bones. You will be seeing this on other channels here very soon, and I'm excited to see, what they think. But yeah, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time, peace.